Okay, so I'm here in Westfield and I'm just here to relocate this television, which I've already done. There's a receptacle behind there, but the bigger issue here is I'm working with a receptacle that doesn't have an equipment grounding conductor connected to it. So it works, it's 120 volts, but it's missing a ground as we speak. So I'm gonna go downstairs in the basement where it's open and see if I cannot find where it loses the equipment grounding conductor and update it so that we have proper grounding at this receptacle. This house is up for sale soon, and that's what I'm doing here, just moving the TV from one wall to the other. This house is built in the 1920s, and this used to be an old knob and tube receptacle. They got this BX cable in there, but there's no equipment ground. I do have 120 volts, and this is hot, and you can see that this extra piece of Romex wire goes up the wall for the receptacle for my TV. This looks like this might have been connected to a knob and tube, and I can just tell by the 3-inch box and the style of this porcelain keyless lamp here, okay? I don't think it's being used anymore, obviously not. But this circuit is the one I believe goes to that receptacle that is upstairs that we connected to. So we're either working with this cable here, okay, or this cable here. We're not exactly sure just yet. Let's go take a look. Go down to the box right here. And I'll have 120 volts. But now I'm going to go to the outer shield right here, and it's still 120 volts. So that tells me that this is not the cable I'm looking for. Here's a prime example of using the neutral or the white wire as a live conductor from back in the day. So nowadays we would not use two whites right here. We would be using a black and a white. And I'm not sure what exactly this device was. Oh, this was an old pull chain, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what's happening here. Obviously this is very delicate stuff here. All right, so this is grounded. Okay, so what I found out once I opened up that 3-inch round box downstairs is I found out that the white was the ungrounded conductor, which was done before 1930. You find that a lot in these older houses. This house was built in the 1920s in Westfield. So when I opened up this box originally, what I found was no equipment ground, right? You're gonna have 120 volts between the hot ungrounded black conductor here and the ground. And as you can see, I'll show you right now that I don't have anything between these. All right, so you go from the jacket of the BX cable to hot and I get nothing. All right, I don't get any voltage. I have my tester set on voltage here. I get nothing. But when I go to the white conductor here, you see that I have 120 volts. So the problem is that this white conductor is acting as the hot, which nowadays is a violation of NEC Article 200-7, where you would have to re-identify that in the cable. Except here you can't identify, you just have a reverse polarity, which is not uncommon in an old house like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut that circuit breaker down, and then I'm going to take apart the splice in that box and see if I can have any slack. And then I will reverse the neutral and the hot just for this portion of the branch circuit and call it a day and make this safe. All right, so the next step here is to start disconnecting this junction box. All right, nowadays you need to have at least minimum 3 inches of conductor facing outside of where the edge of the box is right here, or 6 inches from where it leaves the cable into the box. Back then, you made it as small as possible, and I'm guessing this is probably original with the house here, or maybe 15 or 20 years later, maybe in the 40s, but definitely not the 50s or the 60s. So we're going to disconnect that right now. That's what the soldered connections looked like back then. So back in the day, they made these holes just big enough for the wire and nothing else. So we're going to take it back out and pull it up a different way, naturally. Never a piece of cake working in an old house, ever. But I think I could have avoided this whole problem. I mean, the problem was there, and we're fixing it now. But I could have avoided this whole problem had I checked with my plug-in tester immediately when I got here. It would have shown me reverse polarity, and I might have found the solution a lot faster. But here I am. So what I need to do is join this piece of Romex wire on with this one, because the opening, the drilled hole going into that box upstairs, was too small for the Romex wire and the BX cable. So here we are. It's like major surgery doing these jobs sometimes. Tape it up real nice so it doesn't come undone and it doesn't hit a snag. We can just get that wire into the box, and we'll come back down here. We'll make up the splice box, then we'll go back upstairs and we'll install the new box and the new receptacle. Then we'll energize the circuit, test it. We'll plug in the television, make sure that's working, and then we'll be done. I always like to do it like this first here, just to get these wires in, tighten down my connector, and then attach it to the joist here. I'd rather be a mile too long than it is too short, but not 2 miles, and this is almost 2 miles. It's okay though. Alright, so this one's the hot. Alright, this is my other hot. Here. We'll get the green ground. We'll ground it pretty soon here. In these old houses, there's plaster and lath, and so when I made the box upstairs, up here for the TV, a bunch of the lath and a bunch of the old plaster and crumbles of the plaster drop inside the box there, and so you gotta make sure that that's clear before we put the box back into the wall. I'm gonna use the same box that was here before. I'm even gonna use the same screws if I can find them. So now we're correctly wired. See that? There's a long way to go, but I think in the long run, that was the repair to make here. The one thing I want you to take from this video is the fact that up until 1930, electricians would use the white conductor most of the time to do all their switching and hot conductors. It was around 1930 where they changed the rules, where we started not switching the white conductor and using the black conductor instead. And then eventually they named the white conductor the grounded neutral conductor of a circuit, and that's no longer switched. In fact, today it's prohibited to be switched. Now, there's a whole bunch of different exceptions to that, but we're not going to get into that. Just know that houses built before 1930 used the white conductor to do all their switching. Okay? So if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you're so inclined, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.